Hello, welcome to Breezy's World and the True Crime Lounge. This is a 2-in-1 video for both channels because I've been debating on do I want to talk about this topic in just Breezy's World at the same time do I want to talk about it in the True Crime Lounge. But anyway, so if you're seeing this in Breezy's World, it's going to pop up in the True Crime Lounge on Saturday. It's pre-recorded for the True Crime Lounge, but before I continue, hit that like button, comment something you want me to talk about, and ring that bell for notifications, and subscribe to this channel. Alright, y'all. Today we're going to be talking about Alford Plea. Yes, Alford Pleas. Now you see why I was going back and forth between Alford Plea and going back and forth between Breezy's World and True Crime Lounge. But, basically, this is an Alford Plea. An Alford plea is a plea agreement where the criminal defendant pleads guilty to an offense, but at the same time maintains his or her innocence. By using this type of plea, the defendant acknowledges the fact that even though there is enough evidence to potentially convict him or her, that the plea will help minimize any criminal penalties. I think the most common one would be Scott Patterson. I was just watching a Dateline episode about this too, where a couple didn't know what an Alford plea was, so I kind of got excited about wanting to talk about this and look at states that where people that don't know what an Alford plea is. Well, here's your educational video, guys. Alright. The Alford plea is a guilty acceptance of a crime of a person that claims innocence in the activity, but it's similar to a no contest. But in the acceptance of guilt. But the no contest is for a person that will accept punishment even if he or she did not admit guilt. Both have used this to conclude the case in a conviction. The person will take the guilty plea even if he or she knows that the crime was committed by another person. These cases often have a few others have involved and are no one else blamed for the criminal activity. So why use an Alford plea? Sometimes they use it just to go ahead and close it, especially on the family, especially when there's like minors involved too. So that's a lot of times when they'll go ahead and use it. This recent episode of Dateline we watched did it just for the children, even though I'm not gonna be biased. I promise. I'm gonna keep my opinion to myself on this one. But many defendants may use an Alford plea because the evidence is too strong for trial to make any difference to avoidance of the conviction. The legal profession may explain it that the irrefutable evidence will sway the judge or jury in the prosecution's argument and still lead to conviction for the crime, even if the defendant is innocent. However, taking a chance at the trial could end up in tougher penalties than when pleading guilty through the Alford plea. The courts will treat this plea differently than the standard guilty plea because of specific ways of defending parties will make the plea. So, the lack of evidence. The primary reason an innocent person will use an Alford plea because he or she lacks the evidence and to support the defense. Often in the criminal case, where the alibi is weak, the evidence lacks strength against the prosecution's argument, or no other evidence to support the defending parties against conviction. While the defending plea is similar to no contest, the accused will accept he or she cannot defend against charges successfully. The person still does not admit guilt, but the individual will accept the penalties as part of the process. This may sway the judge to increase possible punishment. So what is the Alford plea? Well, it all started back in 1970 when Henry Alford started when he was affirmed his innocence in the crime of a first-degree murder. Well, the evidence was too strong to refute. He maintained that he was innocent of the charges he faced in the death penalty in North Carolina. Through the plea, he bargained with the prosecution and the defense lawyer. A deal was struck for second-degree murder instead of first-degree counterpart. Alford explained that the matter to the judge and that he was innocent of the murder crime rather than the death penalty. The judge imposed a maximum sentence and placed the Alford in prison for 30 years. So when is the appropriate time to use the Alford plea? Well, there are many provisions necessary to use the Alford plea appropriately in the courtroom. The Supreme Court affirmed that this person should only use the plea with certain circumstances. The plea is legitimate if individual is able to intelligently conclude that the plea is the best option. He or she must also have the prosecution against the case, with strong indications of guilt. The plea is often contradictory because, in both the claim of the innocence and the guilt by the defendant, if there is no alternative and the prosecution refuses to negotiate a plea bargain, the Alford plea is often the only choice left. So, the states that use the Alford plea? Well, the Alford plea is available in all states except for Indiana, Michigan, and New Jersey. While it is important to make an intelligent determination about the possible choices available, the judge may decide that the plea is unintelligent, involuntary, or inaccurate based on the factors of this case. This could lead to a different verdict by the judge and increased sentencing no matter what the crime is. So, what about the legal support with the Alford plea? Well, not in these 3 states that forbid using this type of plea. The lawyer will generally explain the available options based on the evidence for or against the accused. If there is no chance of a plea bargain, the prosecution has an iron-tight case. This option may become only available one to take. Okay, so that is the Alford plea. You can do more research on this if you want. But basically, if you go up to North Carolina versus Alford, you will see it gives a description of it, and everything. But that is it for today's episode. I will see y'all next time.